Joining us to talk about this is Samuel Amadu, Head of Media, Nigeria Women Football League, and of course, he is over there in Abuja. Thank you for joining us today, Samuel.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Now, talking about the Super Falcons of Nigeria, this is the first time the Falcons will be playing post-Danabi, and it looks like a lot of people are actually talking about this team, saying it is a big plus, knowing that we have a lot of young talents in that one, especially those who play in the Nigeria Women's Football League.
Yeah, most definitely. I think a lot needed to change, considering how much the trajectory was under Thomas Danabi. We had so much foreign quality boosting our ranks, but unfortunately, in terms of silverware, we just couldn't achieve anything. And I think the Federation obviously been aware of some sort of disconnect, especially understanding that we've seemed to have abandoned the domestic league somehow, because we cannot ignore the fact that our success at domestic and also at continental level has always been tied to the league, Nigeria Women's Football League, being the ingredients of the national team, and it has always continued to turn in so many talents, even the ones we're already celebrating that are already exiting the stage. And I think it's now most important that at least the Federation look inward to see how best they can also raise the bar, developing and encouraging some talent from home fronts. This is not necessarily meaning that they are abandoning the foreign pros, but again, beginning to intentionally groom the home talents. And this, like you didn't mention earlier in your comments, this was also the progress that was made back in 2014 when we host our first international friendly, which was only friendly match that will have hosted the Nigerian soil, which was more or less a one match friendly, playing Cameroon back in 2014. And it was that game at Go Project in April that April 29, that Asisat scored her first goal for the senior national team. So this was an opportunity where most of the talented players on the home front were brought into the senior national team under the then Edwin Okon. Magudu was also involved, and Christopher Danjuma too was part of that setup to midwife a home-based team that later went on to win us 3 consecutive African Women's Cup of Nations, and at the same time moved abroad and achieving a lot for themselves on the foreign scene. So I think it's just that review that the NFF has done, and looking back to where they probably have missed it, and at least see how best they can intentionally raise the bar on the domestic front, and at least see how they can create some sort of balance. We've seen what the under-17s are doing, and definitely this tells you that no matter the challenges we'll be facing domestically as a country, we have the talents to take us to the next level.
Right, talking about these talents, there has been talks about friendly games, especially with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, where you call home players, the home-based players, to come play these friendly games. And when the tournaments come up, you get to invite a lot of foreign-based players. Some are of the opinion that the tides will actually change for the Falcons, and we'll get to see more of these younger talents, especially the ones who play in the Nigeria Women's Football League, be the main feature for the Super Falcons, not the foreign-based players.
Yeah, for me, I think some of these things, it's also not a means of creating some sort of dichotomy or quota system. Definitely not. I think what is just there is it's been an idea, it's been a plan, a strategy that's been put in place for a long time by the Nigerian Football Federation. But at the same time, implementing this, probably this agenda didn't also align well with the foreign coach that we did have. For us to also bring in the former coach to come stay in Nigeria when we know he has a job, keeping him in the US, it's definitely not going to work out well. So it's just important that the Federation seeing out the Navy seeing out his own contracts. It's important now they need to rejig the process. This is what we did 10 years ago that brought us so much success. I think in 3 successive WAFCON, and also even gave us such a huge promise at the 2015 World Cup. So I think it's some sort of attempts to ensure that, yes, we create a balance. And I think definitely this does not in any way, like I said earlier, means that the foreign-based players have been done with. Never. A lot of them are very useful to the team, talented, and also have a lot to offer in the years to come. But at the same time, intentionally, we want to see how best, using some of the domestic games like this, especially playing a country like Algeria. You won't be bringing an Oshoala, you want to kill Algeria, playing an Oshoala against these teams. No, these are games that you need some of these local players to actually just build some sense of exposure, and it will somewhat also rub off on the league and building confidence for these players, and also ensure that, yes, they begin to grow their resume, also begin to grow confidence, especially when they now come into camp trying to compete strongly against some of their foreign-based players.
Over there at the Women's World Cup. And we're also talking about transition from the cadet team. Hopefully someday, these are the ladies that we're going to see playing for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Now, Asisat Oshoala is missing on that list. Michelle Alozie is also missing. And there also talks about filling the shoes of these star players. Do we have enough quality to play these games going forward, knowing that Asisat Oshoala one day will eventually call it quits with football?
Yeah, definitely. Just like you said about Asisat Oshoala, like I mentioned earlier, the team we saw, they have played friendly against Cameroon in 2014, which I watched, the FIFA Goal Project, which we won by late goal thanks to Asisat Oshoala, was also a team that was created. It wasn't manufactured, it wasn't brought from them. They were totally home-based players that defeated Cameroon, and it didn't make it look like a fluke. They went all the way to Namibia that same year in October to claim the trophy, beating the same Cameroon 2-0 in the finals. So they beat Cameroon both in Nigeria and also in Namibia in the final. So it goes to a long way to tell you that when we look inward, potentially we have a lot of solution to many of our problems. Talent is never Nigeria's problem. So we cannot ignore the fact that, yes, we know where it species us as a country in terms of building raw talent and exposing them earlier. So I think in terms of replacement, definitely we won't have any reason to worry, because one, definitely with games like this, games against Algeria, it will help in exposing some of these players, build their confidence, and on a long time we can be able to see how best they can be well integrated, just like we saw the Asisat of those days, who also replaced who replaced the likes of Perpetual Culture easily. As has been part of the national team since 2011. She only became more prominent and got more full playing time from 2013, 2014. So it's just that progression we see. But someone has to be in charge to build confidence, to give these players a chance, just like we saw players like Deborah Abiodun and the likes of Dimehi coming to the fore when we felt like probably we don't have a replacement for Nomebi and the like. So I think we just need to disabuse that mentality. The talents are here in Nigeria. We only need to give them the time, the opportunity, and the exposure they require to build confidence and begin to compete strongly on the big stage.
All right, so we're looking forward to seeing them play against Algeria, and that will happen at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena later this month. And we're hoping, well, these friendly games are not supposed to be a do-or-die affair. It's just to test out the team and see where we can get the best players to feature for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Thank you very much, Samuel Amadu, for joining us today, and we look forward to having you yet again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure talking women's football.